Alrighty then, it's our first match of the day. And who do we have? An Emma Frost team, of course. What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and welcome to the Adamantium Process, Episode 4. This particular episode is going to be along the lines of a discussion video that you may remember me mentioning before. We're just going to touch on all sorts of aspects of PvP, and I'll do that while showing you the team I've been using on offense for the majority of this season. But just before we begin, I do want to thank Agent Seraph One. Now let's hear it for him.
Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
With that, let's go ahead and get into the episode. Now this is our second battle right after that Emma Frost opening. And we did win that match. The only reason I didn't include it was because it was a 7-minute snooze fest. Part of that was on me. I was taking it way too conservatively, and I should have just hit their team with despair to begin with. But as far as my team, I'll tell you exactly why we're using these two characters. First of all, Kurth is incredibly annoying, and so right out the gate with her level 6, she's going to cause many enemies to cower. She also still does quite a bit of damage, especially with the elite EISO, and being at level 15 where she can gain enraged. Also, we know as long as she lands that Stonebreaker, she's going to cause a massive rune explosion. But really, you can put all that aside. The bottom line is, she's immune to a bunch of stuff, including psychic attacks. This means she can attack Emma with impunity. In other words, what's Emma going to do to her? Hit her with a war diamond? Please. But I don't want to give away all my secrets because the Emma Frost breaking the meta episode is actually just about done. I was only waiting to regain my voice, and I'm pretty close to fully recovered. At least I hope so. But now you know why we're using Kurth. Elsa is actually a much easier explanation. She and Spitfire are probably the two. I said I wouldn't use a certain word. So let's say, most ridiculous. I don't know if that's better. But they're probably the two most ridiculous attackers in the game right now. As we saw before, Star-Lord and Spitfire were insane. Actually, Spitfire and just about anyone are. And Elsa here, well, with the hair trigger EISO, is going to do multiple gun attacks. She has a level 6 with an AoE to spare. Her attacks count as magic. So you have all those ISO as well, in addition to the gun ISOs. Tea-Time ends up terrorizing enemy teams. But she has another good option on top of that causes near fatal. Oh, and did I mention her level 1 exhausts enemies? Could you really even ask for more? But there is more. There's always an opposing bruiser, typically with the elite EISO. She's a blaster, so she's going to take advantage of that class. And she has ranged attacks, so she gets to avoid that absorb energy. In other words, Elsa is a great hero, certainly fit for handling the current meta. Her and Kurth are basically me saying, you're not going to beat me with certain teams, or certain heroes. And I'm fine with that, they've been doing a pretty good job. On defense, however, we are not using Elsa currently. We're using Emma Frost. So that's who we're going to talk about next. For those who are saying, what do you mean Emma's going to be on a bunch of defenses? Or why would Emma be on defensive teams even more so, with the changes to Iron Fist? I find it's pretty straightforward actually. Oh, and to those who said that they're not seeing that much of Emma, here she is a second time in my first 3 fights of the day. So I don't know what game they're playing or what league they're in, but she's on just about every other defensive team, at least in my experience. And the reason why Iron Fist made a big difference was of course because of prevent debuffs. He could prevent that preemptive psychic tap, so in other words the ridiculous damage from mental anguish, which came simply from attacking her. And by the way, there are other ways to attack her. And like I said, we're going to look at different ways in the Breaking the Meta episode. But the nerfs to Iron Fist does make the pool a little bit smaller. It just does. And that's why I predicted a rise in the use of Emma Frost. But we're going to deal with it, and I'm going to show you how to deal with her as well. even though I use her. And my defense has been doing very well. We're using her and Kurth currently, but sometimes I wonder if you could put her and your agent on defense alone and still win. But no, I wouldn't go that far. As far as nerfs, we're not going to talk about them too much in this video, even though my thoughts haven't changed. And that's with the fact that my defense is probably winning more post Iron Fist changes. That still doesn't change what I think about that. As far as Mayday, aka the Amazing Spider-Woman, or as we see here, the Amazing Spider-Girl, she definitely isn't as amazing, but she's still pretty amazing. One thing I've been noticing more than ever is that she avoids a lot of attacks. And that's where she can get really ridiculous right now. It's not like before where she would kill your entire team and there was nothing you could do about it. So that's one good thing. But I have almost lost to her because she just avoided all of my attacks, and one by one started taking out my team all by herself. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not even complaining about that. And there are ways to make sure you hit characters. Even though I feel like she still dodges guaranteed attacks. Sometimes. Oh, and would you look here, another Emma Frost team, so 3 out of 4. I'd say that's pretty good odds. I guess at least you know if you build against Emma, you're going to have a pretty solid strategy most of the time. Where it really gets extra annoying is with the setup that this agent has. Not unlike myself, they're using Kurth, so that's the first step. Then they have the Tactician's Safeguard suit as well. And although we're almost going to have him finished already, he is going to get a turn, and he has the Experiment, a pretty solid weapon for 30 gold in the store. And most unfortunately, the Lunacy. Now I have this item too, but it ends up being a bigger pain than I think many of us expected. And a lot of that is because of the nerf to stamina. The bonus or stamina change is definitely what brought this on. See, many people thought that I was even kinda crazy when I talked about a stamina drain team. Now it's a serious thing. Obviously there's more to winning than that, but getting your stamina constantly drained, well, for lack of a better word, it's draining. It brings you down, it drags out fights. It's definitely a way to demoralize your enemy. And with the Lunacy specifically in this team, the fact that it can make things not stealthy really hurts when it comes to the Covert E-ISO and Emma Frost preemptive counter. And yeah, currently I think many people may be struggling without Iron Fist, although his combo breaker is definitely working. Something that can't be said about the hammer pistol, and I need that fixed immediately so I can use it again. Hopefully PD gets on that. But as far as facing this type of team, first of all, notice that Elsa and Kurth can easily handle them, and I hope that what we've shown in this video can help many of you out. But I know for a fact the next Breaking the Meta video definitely will help you out. So definitely make sure you stay tuned for that. And I'm going to try to have a special video for you as well at the end of this week. As far as my current season, I have very few attacks. I only had 53 after my 5th and final fight. The last fight was against a Kurth and Colossus team. And although it was long, it was a pretty easy win. Just to show you, there's our 5 from today, all wins, and then we have quite a few defensive wins as well. That's pretty typical this season. So yeah, I don't know, this season I haven't really even attacked much. I just lack the motivation. But it's still been relatively easy, and we should definitely win the character. Let me know how your season's going in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching, please like and subscribe. Then until next time, good luck and take care.